Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A little update from the Ukraine front. Last night, so from the 6th to 7th of September 2025, Russia launched the biggest drone attack on Ukraine since the beginning of this special military operation in Ukraine, or war, however you want to, conflict, whatever word you want to use. That's the first topic. I'm going to give you the details on that massive attack. The Russians attacked, according to the Ukrainians, a governmental building for the first time in Kiev. The Russians first report on that, and then the Russians, deny that they targeted a governmental building in Kiev. Isn't that strange? Is there an understanding that you don't do that? Well, it seems like, well, I've been saying this for some time, that this is a controlled war. This is not an all war. When these guys say here in the West, this guy being the media operatives, Russia launched an all war on Ukraine. Nah, it's not true. They still have the nuclear weapons docked. They still did not attack the main players of Ukraine. The Ukrainians, or the other side, doesn't hit the central command of the Russians. If you say they can't, they can strike inside Moscow if they want. They can attack the Kremlin if they want. They can, but they choose not to. Why is that? Maybe there's some little understanding somewhere, or they're afraid of the other side's retaliating with all war. Then we have the Ukrainians successfully defending Pokrovsk, according to an article 2 days ago. But today things changed. The Russians are advancing in Pokrovsk. Well, as I said, the Ukrainians report about 2 days after the events, 2 to 3 days after the events, after they lose something. When the Ukrainians lose a position, they immediately, the situation is tense or dynamic. That means that's the code word for we're done, we lost that position. Then we have the Ukrainians attacking, I would say successfully, some Russian infrastructure, oil and gas infrastructure inside Russia. And the Druzhba pipeline struck again. That means the Slovaks and the Hungarians and the European Union, they don't matter. So Ukraine was rogue, it is rogue, and will be rogue as we speak. The Europeans told the guys in charge of the Ukrainian nation, don't attack the Druzhba pipeline anymore. Zelensky struck it today, 1 day after Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia, had a meeting with Zelensky's Stein in Zakarpattia. Good, and Zelensky said, you know what, we're going to continue doing that. So the European Union, supposedly the sponsors of the nowadays war in Ukraine, on the Ukrainian side, they told the guys that they sponsor, do not sponsor. Without them, the Ukrainian collapses in a week. Okay? So they tell the guy in charge, supposedly, don't strike the Druzhba pipeline. This guy strikes again the Druzhba pipeline, and the Europeans will do what? This is a game. This is a stage kabuki game. So as I said, the Ukrainians hit the Druzhba pipelines, some other refineries and locations in Krasnodar, Krai, in Bryansk. I will show you maps. All right, let's start with record drone attack on Ukraine. Here is the first article on that subject. New drone record. Russia launches over 800 UAVs and 13 missiles on Ukraine. 751 targets down. This is from Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Russia carried out a large-scale combined attack on Ukraine using strike UAVs and ground-launched missiles on the night of 6 to 7 September. Ground-launched. So they would be like S-300, S-400s, Iskander M, Iskander K, whatever those are, usually the ground-launched. Ukrainian air defense intercepted 751 out of 823 aerial assets. So they will give you what, 49, 59, 69, 72. That's it, about. All right, by my poor calculations. Though 9 missiles and 54 drones hit 33 locations. So what is 63? 60, what the hell am I doing? 62, not 72. Okay. All right. According to updated information as of 9:30, since Pak, this is what they had. So 810 Shahed time attack UAVs and decoy drones of various types from Kursk. So they launched the drones from Kursk, Bryansk, Milerovo, Oriol, Shatalovo, Primorsko-Akhtarsk in Russia, and Kvardiske and Chauda in occupied Crimea. So the usual suspects, they launched their drones from this area right here. Bryansk, Oriol, Kursk, Shatalovo, and then you have here, this is Milerovo here, then you have Primorsko-Akhtarsk right here, across from the Sea of Azov, then you have the Crimean Peninsula with Cape Chauda in here, so, and the other location. So they struck from south, they struck from southeast, they struck from east, northeast, and north. So everywhere, if you want. These are the drones. 9, I told you, 9 Iskander-K missile cruise missiles from Russia's Kursk Oblast. So 9 Iskander-K and 4 Iskander-M from Crimea. So the Iskanders from Crimea, the Iskander-M from Crimea, Iskander-K from Kursk. Those are located right here, Kursk, the 9 of them, and the 4 of them right here from the Crimean Peninsula, from the northeast and south. What else? That's it. So they launched only Iskander missiles. They destroyed 4 Iskander-K cruise missiles, 747 Shaheds. Let's see what they were able to strike. Hits from 9 missiles and 54 attack drones were recorded in 33 locations, and debris from intercepted assets fell on 8 sites. Well, but we find out, again, this is from New Voice of Ukraine, Russia fires record 818 drones and missiles at Ukraine overnight. 818, and this guy said what? Yeah, 813 over. Okay, so what was here? 823, so this is an update. So 823, and these guys reported 818 at that time. All right, Russia strikes Kiev. A residential and governmental building hit. Governmental buildings, plural, hit. 2 dead, 11 injured. Ukrainska Pravda. Cabinet of Ministers building on fire in Kiev after Russian drone attack. Photos. Well, this is the big damage in one cabinet building. They say it was a drone. The Russians denied they did it. Why is that? They are afraid these guys are going to hit the Kremlin. A fire broke out in the Cabinet of Ministers, Ukrainian government building in Kiev after debris from a Russian drone fell. Okay, so they didn't target it. A government building in the Pekersky district caught fire as a result of the likely downing of a UAV. Firefighters are working paka. The sources insist that this was not debris falling, but a direct strike on the government building. So which one is it now? Was not debris falling, but a direct strike. And here is the what you see inside of the government building with parquet down there. Okay. Svridenko said that this is the first time the government buildings has been damaged in a Russian attack, with the roof and upper floors affected. This is a picture of that attack. That's not a debris, but whatever, what do I know, right? Not a big deal, let's put it this way. Firefighters are doing what they do best. Next, Russia strikes on Kiev, apartment hits, cabinet, oh they changed it, cabinet damage for first time. Fires across districts. The roof is on fire over there. So, yeah, but then we have the Russians reporting on the same thing. September 7th, Ukrainian government building damaged by Russian strike. The cabinet ministers building near Independence Square has caught fire, Kiev Mayor Vitaly Klitschko has said. The cabinet minister has been struck by a Russian drone, Klitschko said. Ukrainian officials reported strikes different parts of the capital, adding telegram that the government building caught fire following the apparent shoot down of a drone. Now, which one is it? This is the Independence Square right here. their center, where you have this, how do you call this, column right here. This is the center, and that's the governmental building. So the Russians did not hit it, so the drone was going somewhere else, and you're going to find out the Russians said it was going somewhere else, and the Ukrainians blew it up, and boom, it just fell over there. Or it was a Ukrainian drone. Could have been a Ukrainian drone of 100%. So we have here Ukrainian Prime Minister later confirmed damage to the government building, saying it was the first incident of this kind, with the roof and upper floors hit. All right, these are the same pictures. It doesn't say, so it was the other one that says debris, or this one say hit. And this is what the Russians are saying regarding this. Russia denies targeting Ukrainian government building. Why? Wouldn't you think that you want to do that? No? Okay. Moscow's forces attacked an industrial and logistics facility in Kiev, the defense ministry has said. Russian forces have carried out a long-range strike on Ukraine drone assembly facilities as well as an industrial enterprise in Kiev. This is what they say, adding that no other buildings were targeted. Ukraine earlier accused Russia of striking the building housing the cabinet of ministers in Kiev. In a statement on Sunday, the ministry said the massive high-precision strike was aimed at facilities producing, repairing and storing UAVs as well as military airfields in the central, southern and eastern part of Ukraine. So that means they claim we didn't go further than this. Well, right here, this is the area right there of Ukraine. All right, where are we? Not there, not here. Oh, we got the denial. Also targeted were the industrial enterprise Kiev 67 on western outskirts of the Ukrainian capital and logistics facility in the southern part of the city. All right, the objectives of the strikes have been achieved, or designated targets have been hit. No strikes have been carried out on other sites within the boundaries of Kiev. All right, well, if that's what you say, and they say earlier in the day, Ukrainian officials claimed that a Russian drone has crashed into the Ukrainian government building near Independence Square with fire. They also claimed that the attack included more than 900 drones in total across the country. All right, next. So, what do you think? Did they hit it or not? Well, it's beyond if they did it purposely or not. It caught fire. Now, I ask many times, not ask. I think for me it's clear these guys will not hit one another in the control centers or in the political centers. If you are at war, all war, you just flatten everything and then you ask questions. Like the Americans in Venezuela. They will do whatever they want and then they will say, so what? What are you going to do? Nothing. Shut the hell up. Go home. That's what the Russians probably do in this case. Let's go to Pokrovsk front, or at least show you how it's a discrepancy 1.5 days apart between what these guys report. The articles come from the Ukrainians. So Ukrinform. This is from the 7th of September 2025. So today, Sunday. 170 clashes on frontline. Enemies actively advance in Pokrovsk sector. Whereas Pokrovsk, let me show you. So this is the map of Ukraine. This is Donetsk Oblast. Pokrovsk is right here, where it's almost encircled. This is Pokrovsk, Krasnodar. So in the Pokrovsk front, according to the Ukrainians today, the Russians are advancing, and they will keep advancing. And once they reach this point, these guys cannot go back to mommy. So it's going to be probably another Mariupol, which is right here by the Sea of Azov. If you remember, the Russians captured 2,600 fighters, whatever they were, in the Azovstal steel plant right here in this area, across from this little river flowing into the Sea of Azov. But hey, the Ukrainians reported that these guys just went to Russia. They just came out and went to Russia. Nevertheless, so now we have actively advanced in Pokrovsk area. Over the past day, there were a total of 170 combat clashes between the Ukrainian armed forces and Russian troops on the front line, 52 of them in the Pokrovsk sector. The enemy also intensified its activities in Novopavlivka, Toretsk, Liman, Kramatorsk and Siversk sectors. Those are, again, If Pokrovsk is over here, they're talking about all this area in here. Where are we? My point here was the enemy actively advanced in Pokrovsk sector today. And then you have on September 5, Ukrainian officer explains Russia's costly failures near Pokrovsk. Failures or not failures, not even 2 days after that, you tell us that they advance. I mean, you're going to have some failure and you're going to have some, losses. That's true. But this is what the Ukrainians did. Ukraine Defense Forces strike oil pipeline and refinery in Russia's Krasnodar Krai. So 2 actions. Ukraine Defense Forces overnight of September 7th struck part of the Stalnoy Kon, Steel Horse main oil pipeline complex, and Ilsk oil refinery in Russia's Krasnodar Krai, as well as troop locations, and Russian military units in Kursk Oblast, Ukraine's said. So, what do we have here? And on top of that, they have in Bryansk, obviously, so this one right here I identified, right here, far away, and this is in Kursk. This is where the pipeline, whatever it is, Steel Horse or something. All right, and it seems to be, this is just a railway, but this seemed to be a little right there, production, it seems to me. Nevertheless, this is where it's one hit. The other hit, they said Krasnodar, right? The other one was Ilsk oil refinery. That one is right here. This is by Krasnodar. There is another one. This is the city, and here is the complex, probably right there. They strike this area, and this is located, let me show you, by the Crimean Peninsula. Right there. So Crimean Peninsula, this is Krasnodar Krai, and we have on this map right here, Krasnodar is, let me get my melon up if I can. That one, that's my cousin, obviously. And we have it right there in this area here. Next, what else they destroyed? So the other one was in Bryansk Oblast, because we're going to have the Druzhba oil pipeline stationed in Russia's Bryansk region. And there's a video with that. You have here the storage, where, not here, but here, okay. Right there, Ukraine drone strike Druzhba oil pipeline against the orders from the sponsors. Ukrainian forces struck a key production and dispatch station of the Druzhba oil pipeline in Bryansk region overnight. So that is in Bryansk, is right here. And this is where the Druzhba pipeline goes into Belarus. And in Belarus, it diverts on 2 directions. One going through Ukraine, and the other one going here into Poland, and from Poland gets dispatched to Germany and so on. But this one goes to Ukraine, and from the Ukraine it goes to Slovakia and Hungary right here. So this is the one they are destroying. But in the meantime, destroying in Bryansk, that means the one that comes from here. That way it affects the delivery of oil to Germany as well. So you might think that if the Europeans have the power by sponsoring, so let's start with this. We should agree, I think you should agree, because I'm already in agreement with that. If the Europeans and the Americans today stop all help to Ukraine, Ukraine will be done in, I would say, no more than 2 weeks. That's how much I gave the Russians to have the Ukrainian ask for peace when they entered Ukraine in the 24th of February 2022. I said 2 weeks. And probably that's what would have been done unless NATO would have said, no, we're ready because we got you, we're going to queue up. And they didn't. That's why we're here. We're here because the whole guys in the West are involved in this. So if those guys in the West tell the guys in command of Ukraine, which I don't think they are in the command, I don't think Zelensky is in charge of Ukraine, or Yermak or Shmihal, all these Ukrainians. I don't think these guys are. They are just messengers. They are just overseers. They are sent. They are paid by these guys. It's a game between the two. Why? If the West says no more to you, Zelensky, what do you think Zelensky does? Packs his bags, goes to London or New York, one of the two. I guarantee you that's where he's going to go. London, first option, New York, the second option. So that's the main thing. The Ukrainians will collapse in no more than 2 weeks. I don't give them. So therefore, you depend on the West. So if the West tells you, you got to do ABC, he has to do ABC. Otherwise, these guys can always blackmail him. The problem is, what if Zelensky says tomorrow, you know what, you don't give me the weapons, you don't give me anything, I'm going to go and be on Putin's side. That's it. Q. What do you think the West will do? Zelensky will die in the next day or two. I don't know, heart attack or, I don't know, some technical difficulties with his helicopter. Or, a missile just drops over there. We don't know where it came from. So Zelensky is caught in between the two. But he seems to play the game these guys want him to play. Now, if your sponsor tells you, you don't strike the Druzhba pipeline, and you strike it, what does it mean? You either went rogue, because Zelensky has the only blackmail that he has over there is, I will go to Putin. And I'm not certain that Putin will forgive him or anything like that. And when I say to Putin, it's not going to be like they're going to shake hands like with Lukashenko. But that could be the only thing. But I don't think Zelensky is surrounded by mercenaries, by security forces. Those are not his people. Those are someone else's people. I know, some people said Great Britain and so on. So if an order is done, Zelensky is wrapped, and delivered wherever these guys want Zelensky delivered. So that means the option is, this is a game. We're going to say you stop doing that because we want to hurt Hungary and Slovakia, obviously, the mavericks, the Putin's jackals in Europe. So we're going to tell you, hey, don't do that. See, Slovakia, see Hungary, see Fico, see Orban. We told them not to do it. Now they did it. Now what? Oh, we're going to press some sanctions on you. We're not going to give you some weapons. How many? I don't know, 3 bullets and 5, grenades. Hey, see, Hungary and Slovakia, we told them. Is that the way you do it? It's a game. And I mean, the fish is much, much bigger. The one that these guys want to fry. Not Hungary, and they will take care of Hungary and Slovakia later. Now they have Russia hitting them in the face. They have to do something with them. So that's it, my friends. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.